Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, aka the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week we got Ricky and Dalton on from the MMG crew, and we got Tim on from Urban Lumber Company. Appreciate you being here.
I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for asking.
This has been a hard one to get on the books.
It has. Yeah, I've put you off for like 8 months.
Yeah, you didn't know it was going to be so much fun.
Well,
so
I was busy.
Now he showed up. He's like, I got dinner. He goes, I would have done this a while ago.
I would have. Had I known I was getting the full service, I would have been here much sooner and again next month.
Yeah.
So
just set it on the books every month.
that sounds cool. I'll be your color man in the corner just making jokes.
Yeah. We need one of those.
Yeah, we need
Got
that guy.
two more. I'll be the fourth chair. That's right.
But we've crossed paths and done a lot of work together, done a lot of marketing with your company. And it was something in the beginning that I was actually pretty fearful of when we first met on what the direction would be, if it would get the views, if it would get the traction. And it has worked really, really well. And it's something that from the first time we met, your education level that you have and what you do is pretty off the chart. And
Self-taught, of course we are.
But what got you into woodworking, doing that, and really having that much of a passion for it?
Well, let's see. My dad always took us to the Missouri Botanical Garden when I was a kid. I guess it had a greater influence than I thought. That's a terrific arboretum in St. Louis, Shaw's Garden, if you're from St. Louis. But, a bunch of big trees and cool plant things and kind of a big focus on that. And we did that a lot. And I didn't really think about it, but that probably got me into trees. But I've always liked them, climbing and everything. But then got into woodworking for different reasons. I just like working with, I just like the practice of woodworking because it's its own joy in and of itself. But then you kind of married the two. You think of all these local species, and that's kind of what I was doing in my early 20s. I was like, buying wood, and it was kind of junky, and I was always marveling at the local species and reading about different woods that you could use, and I'm wondering what the differences were. And so then I kind of, got my chocolate, my peanut butter, the whole. And man, it's been fun. What a, ridiculously simple thing to find joy in. But working with local wood species and making things for people, just custom people, and talking about the nuances and the silly things and just getting to know people along the way. It's a nice way to pass time before you go, It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No, it's a simple thing. But yeah, so anyway, I kind of like that. I also would love to spread the word and, do more and be super dynamic and ambitious about it. But when you make stuff for a living, you work 2 hours, you try to get paid for 2 hours, but then you got to fix that tool on your own time or how that goes. And so it's difficult to really stack that. We could sort of stack the lumber sales, and that worked well. And so the way our setup worked actually was pretty nice operation in the sense that we could sell lumber and sell the wood services. And so you kind of got both what you wanted, and you could see how it all came together. And I like that operation. I'd love to set that up again, and I hope we can. Just going to take a little bit, and we've got to figure out the right spot to do it. And I'm optimistic because everybody seemed to like our operation fundamentally, and perhaps a little downtime will be great for reflection and fine tuning.
Yeah,
I'm surely enjoying the downtime.
I know that's. I'm kind of jealous actually right now.
It's totally. I hate to say it. It's totally nice not having anybody know where you're at. I still answer the phone. I'm still responding to emails, and I'm still getting people wood, and I tell them how to get there. But we're kind of off the radar for the time. That's only going to play for like another month, and people are going to start getting. Nobody's going to care, but it would be like, I guess, business-wise irresponsible. I was trying to think of it like an entrepreneurially irresponsible.
I like it.
Man, that was
a
lot.
That was good.
Barely hung on to the rails.
Yeah, you're not going to see that coming out of me over here, so I'll let you have them all.
Anyway, so I got to update the website and kind of let people. I mean, I struggle with that, and it's my marketing team. How should I deal with that? Because the truth is, it's not necessarily an awesome story. What would
The
you do?
story is pretty good though. Like I look at it as
the divorce.
we're talking about before
it's kind of
that anybody that gets into business and thinks it's all rainbows and sunshine is absolutely wrong. And I've even thought about where we have so many people that reach out and they're like, "Oh, Moss Marketing Group's just doing so good that like blah blah blah," and they see our highlight reel on Instagram of all the cool things we put up every day, but they don't see the internal fights that we take on. They don't see the hard conversations we have to have. And I've almost thought about starting like a MMG page that's like the true nuts and bolts of business. That's like, what are the daily fights that we take on, like from a financial standpoint, from onboarding accounts, from dealing with certain clients, from whatever it may be, just the real truths of business that a lot of people don't see that side of it. They don't see all the phone calls that we take every single day. They don't see the marketing strategies that are put together. They don't see the hours and hours of editing that goes in. They don't see the hours of revisions that happen and the butting of heads from the content team to the marketing team to just trying to piece it all together to make it work. That it's like we've had a lot of people join the team in the last 30 days. We've had 6 new people come on. And it's funny when I meet with them, I tell them straight up, I'm like, just so you know, it's a shit show here. Like, I don't want there to be any like false pretext.
no misconceptions.
Like, and they're like, well, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like they think I'm just like kind of throwing that out there. I'm like, no, it's seriously an organized just shit show.
Actually, initial here, that's a disclaimer.
Yeah. But it's funny though, like when we start telling people about that, they're like, they just kind of brush it off and then they get in like, I don't have all the answers.
It's probably more like a carnival ride or a whirlwind or, riding the tornado where, if you can embrace it and get on board with the vibe, it works for you. And if you can't, you might not be comfortable.
Yeah.
And, it's a nice filter, I suspect, right? Because some people, like nobody wants to do my job. I know I'm lucky to have 2, you know what I mean?
Which I looked at like the first time I came out, like if I could have like one dream job of doing something all the time, it'd be like what you're doing.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, for real.
It's
like I look at it, it's
lumber
like,
all day.
Dude, if I could have a house out in Montana,
Man,
and not see
everybody
a
wants to
building,
plane a board for an afternoon. I'm talking about busting your knuckles. You know what I mean? It's
like
I like it.
There was nothing I looked
Although it
forward
doesn't
to
pay
more.
for anything. So you got that's really what they mean. It's like you wouldn't want my job.
I almost turned my other garage into like a wood shop.
Well, it's a joy of a hobby. I mean, it's for everybody listening, everybody in the audience. Woodworking is a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something that I had wood shop in high school. It was probably one, if not my favorite class I had. And I would go in there and put a dip in, and I liked
get down to it.
I liked our wood turning class the most. You would sit there on a chair and you just get this big, huge block of wood, and then you just sit there and you just start turning it, and you'd spin your sawdust pile on the side, and it was just like, I mean, it was the most peaceful 45
This doesn't
minutes.
feel like work.
Exactly. I'm like, this is nice. I'm like, I didn't make anything that fucking cool, but it's like nobody would buy what I was making. But,
I made a bread box
yeah.
in my wood shop class. Pretty nice, actually. It was a
You
nice
still
bread
have it? You still have
I
it?
gave it to my grandparents
They still have it?
for a Christmas present. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, right on.
I did routed their name in the front of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I've made a cutting board. I think my parents still have it. And that's about it.
I was a big fan of making lamps. We had all this stuff to do the lamps, and
Wire.
How many wood shop classes did you do?
you can make a lamp in 1 hour.
Dude,
I can make a lamp out of this microphone.
I feel like we just
Somebody give me a drill.
I feel like we just had like one big project and that's it.
Oh no,
It's like, all right, we're gonna teach you how to cut wood. We're gonna teach you how to use all the tools, and then you're gonna make a project.
look, like the first like week.
I feel like that's all we did.
Like
No,
the-
man, his teacher had him on the lathe. That was a different kind of teacher. That's a
Oh,
totally
man.
different ethos.
Oh, it was literally like his only thing was like he didn't care that we all chewed in class. He was just like, make sure you have your glasses on.
Yeah.
That was like his main thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had Tito's in his glass all day, but you would literally just come in and it was like you would just sit down and you can make whatever you wanted. And
Freeform.
yeah, it was just like you sit down and we had like these buckets in the back, like everything you could need. A lamp is just a deal you stick in the top. The cord comes out the bottom. Put a shade on the top. We didn't have shades when they came home.
It's a gift though. What the inventiveness of you could that was it. You can turn anything into a lamp at a young age. That's nice
Yeah,
because all of a
it's
sudden you're thinking outside.
And then I would do like a lot of pins. Like you could just get like a small piece of wood out the back instead of doing this whole like big huge brick. You sit there and then just work on sanding it real fine. You drop it in half and then you glue the deals in. Next day you come in, you just screw the pin together. You got a pin.
You guys never do that?
No, we never did that.
Huh.
We just
Nobody-
made.
My wood
We
class
made
Nobody
sounds a
makes
lot
money
more-
making pens, though.
we just made a
Just
bread
for the
box.
old guys. I'll tell you who that's for, because I mean it's all documented. That's for the people who live in small spaces but still want to woodwork and have that visceral turning is for people who want that visceral satisfaction you alluded to, where it really rubs, spins off or cuts off depending on what you're doing, dry or green.
Mhm.
But it's so fun
It
because
is satisfying. It's
oh, it
satisfying.
feels
Yeah.
good. It's like
Yeah.
throwing a pot on a clay thing.
And we'd sit there and we'd sharpen our tools and stuff when
Yeah.
you get them.
And it feels
like,
so much better when
when you just got a super sharp tool
Dude,
coming onto the
that
wood
ribbon,
lid, it was
that
just
ribbon.
Like, it was like butter.
Yep.
And I've actually legitimately thought I have a truck that sits in my single car garage. I've thought about putting it in storage, turn that whole thing into like a wood lathe shop. I'd just go sit on the weekends, just have
A
some
lot of
peace.
guys do it. It's real satisfying.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's like the first time I came into Urban, I was like, whoa. I was like, you get to do this for a living.
I hardly ever do wood turning like that. I haven't made a bowl in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I do a lot of turning just for practical things like that, wooden circle thing. But
Yeah.
Ray, my buddy Ray, he turned. He's an avid turner, and he's quite talented. It's an art for sure.
Yeah. It's, I'm not going to say I was good at the art
No.
form of it.
Not
But
yet. You didn't
It's
give
just
enough
fun.
time.
It's really not about
Yeah.
whatever the outcome's the outcome. Half of them crack anyway. It's just more fun doing it. Mostly to
Yeah.
have the setup and to be able to get in the space and to strategize about your form based on the original material. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. No, I very much enjoyed it.
We had another class, kind of like wood shop, but it was called stagecraft. So we made all like the props for the plays.
you
and
take
whatnot. I did.
Were you good at it?
It was a shit show. No, I mean, it was literally like a jack off class. Like everyone just like, I think there was probably 12 of my friends in there, and we just fucked around the whole time.
With
Like-
you had tools too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
They gave you guys
drills, hammers. Yeah. So our teacher, Miss Witt, anytime she would come around, we had like a call sign, Red Dog. People yelled Red Dog for doing something bad. Said let everyone. It took her about half the semester to figure out what we were doing.
Red Dog.
Yeah. Everyone would just start yelling, Red Dog, Red Dog.
Yeah.
That was to let everyone know Miss Witt was coming.
I didn't even have a shop in high school.
I don't think they have it in Kearney anymore.
I had it in middle
I'm
school,
not
which is kind of weird. I had metal and wood shop in middle school, like 7th and 8th grade, which seemed really weird to me. Like,
Huh.
I don't know how you play that game now, but
And
That's
then it
how-
wasn't in high school, same district and stuff.
same district, everything. It was so St. Louis, South St. Louis County. I was born in 73, so I don't know what, 83, 85, middle school, but then high school I didn't take it.
So, what made you want to pursue a career and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to build doing this?
Oh, well, let's see. I had, after I graduated, my degree's in illustration, like drawing pictures, and I kind of wanted to do that because I like drawing things, and I thought it would be an easy career path because you get paid to draw. But, it was pretty satisfying, but it's pretty hard to be really distinctive in that. And so that led into sort of graphic design, which is an easy vocation. I actually worked at Cerner for a while doing interface design and sort of stuff for their own internal things.
Because when we met, you did have a very high level of knowledge when it came to website side of that, where most of the time we're talking with people in like ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
And you were,
Well, I had that.
Very
I had
proficient.
that background, and that was kind of fun. And I like that. It's all interesting to me. And then I taught at the Art Institute for a while, so I did that for like 2 or 3 years. And then after that is when I started doing custom work on my own with my own wood, of course. And I really liked that. But then by 2008 or 9, it was kind of tight. The economy and everything. And so nobody was getting custom things done at that point. So I kind of started working at the Nelson about 2007. Doing contract work as an exhibition designer, and that was terrific. And so I did that until about 12 or 13 in conjunction with custom stuff when it started to pick back up. And about that time, Missouri Organic called, and that's when they said, we see what you're doing with the trees. We're going to have a bunch of trees. Do you want to partner up? And I thought, well, that sounds terrific. And I loved working at the Nelson, but this was kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. Somebody reaches out and say, we're going to, get you a building and get a couple sawmills set up for you if you want to really go big. And so we did, and we kind of shoestringed it too. They put some money down and got us going, and they did great. They were great partners, brought in a lot of stuff to help out. But Tony, me, and Ray just started sawing wood and selling it and drying it and making stuff, and so it felt like a fun thing to do. I like the idea of getting people keyed up about the use of the raw material, the beauty of the wood stands on its own. There's a lot of beautiful wood out there, the beauty of the raw material, but also people roll up their sleeves, they start trying new things. We just had a good talk about how you kind of got jazzed about the idea of doing that, and I think people get that, and it's fun. It's fun to kind of create that little energy or push in that direction. Especially because I think it leads to other things that are, good uses. But, the raw material is going to go to waste. And so it makes sense to capitalize on it and use it in our homes, for our tables, whenever we can. We're really not that expensive, but I don't know. If it speaks to people, it speaks to people. It speaks to me.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, when you talk about kind of unlocking that part of the brain and using that side of the brain, I think a lot of times people don't ever really get to use the creative part, and the wood does stand on its own. And that's where I think it was crazy when we came in, that like every piece of wood, it was like you knew where it's from, you knew so much about it that was just like mind blowing to me. But then it's also like, what can you turn that into? Where I think 10 people look at it and see 10 different things.
I think that's fun. Yeah. And you really can't be wrong. And everybody, what I have learned is that, if you're worried about like how you do, it's really not you versus anybody else. It's you versus you, which is a terrific way to be. It's sort of like rock climbing in that sense, where, you're not really competing against another person. It's just, if you can do it or not, and you do the best you can. But, the pool is so deep. Just when you feel like you're getting somewhere, you look around the corner and you see what somebody really did, when you see it with different eyes that you didn't see like years ago. Yeah. And you realize you don't know anything. And that's kind of fun too, because it's like a deep pool. So like you'll never get bored. Yeah. And I like that. You know what I mean? It just goes on and on and on. Every day I see something that bugs me out. You're like, oh my gosh, and how they do things and what people do. Also, severely retired people. You know what I mean? People with like obviously money. Because nobody's doing this like for nobody's getting paid to do this. But amazing things that just people can do with tools and wood. Yeah. But then if you mix in the local species and the fact that it was going to be in our waste stream, and let's start using this stuff and having fun with it. That's a couple things. I like that too. Yeah. So kind of a kung fu, when you do a couple at once.
A combo move.
I like the combo move.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
I like it.
But when we started putting up a lot of videos, it was with you. It was funny in the beginning how many people we had like negative comments about cutting trees down.
Totally. Yeah.
And it was like, I was actually pretty shocked at that out the beginning, like from the start. And it was, I just don't think they really understand.
Nobody did. Like, you know how it is, the instant world. No, I don't think, but some people were, there's always wackadoos, so there's that. But yeah, I think most of it was just a reaction to seeing trees dumped off and some, cool video from our perspective. But you got to take an extra 2 seconds and read the backstory. Otherwise, you're going to do that.
Yeah. They got pretty fired up about the tree from Overland Park.
We still have
69
that. Yeah.
135th.
We've got it cut down. It's still in that like a 3/4 log stage out of Missouri City. Yeah.
So I feel like what was graphic design kind of aligns with what we do also. When you're doing graphic design, did that fuel you the same way that the wood space fueled you? Or was it just kind of a stepping stone into the next?
Well, design is kind of, a fun sort of, like, I guess I would call them glasses to look at the world through. And so like when you're doing graphic design, it's a 2D plane, or, at least maybe in today's world it can be a motion plane, but time plane. But you know what I mean? It's still like nothing you can pick up, put in your pocket. And I really do like 3D, but also I am, really tactilely motivated. I like touching things. And so personally, I like sawing, man. I really do. And so I like spending my time with that, that feel of, the chainsaw or whatever it is, table saw, bandsaw, you name it. I like sawing. No, I really do. It's fun just to move the wood. What you alluded to earlier with the turning, I really get a lot of that. And although I will say I haven't like built anything in like 3 weeks. It's weird. I've dabbled. Mostly I'm putting tools away. But that's just a fun thing for me. And so, I don't know. I don't even know what you asked. I lost it.
That's what happens on podcasts. You go down.
Good. I hope I'm in the club.
Yeah, normally we just ask on something, and wherever it goes, it goes.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
you ought to have like if you get in a tight spot, you do like a ring a bell and everybody has to go like back 20 photos and explain that photo randomly.
Oh,
Go
Or
back,
you roll the dice. You need
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
D&D dice. Somebody gets
Dalton,
out of
20 photos back.
somebody gets out of line. They roll the
That
D&D
might get
dice and they
dangerous.
pick the number and you got to go back and
Dalton's,
explain
Dalton's
Let's see.
thinking right now
Oh,
his
oh
wheels
my
are
God.
turning.
Oh, shit.
I was
See
like,
it?
actually,
I kind of like that game.
actually.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You have clothes on?
It's my safe. It's a picture of my safe.
Why'd
Does
you,
it have
why'd you
codes
tell
on
us
it?
why you took a picture? of safe?
The reason I took a picture of it is because it's a piece of shit, and I was trying. I
You were
was
shaming it. You were photo
I
shaming it.
was trying to open it, and the code. Just typed in the code. It would go green and red, so I thought the battery was dead or about to die. So, anyways, I would type the code in. I was trying to open it, and I twisted it a little too hard, and then it just like now
You snapped
it
it.
just spins. Yeah. So
Green and red is self-destruct. You didn't know that? You don't read the manual?
I guess not. No, and the manual's inside.
That's
right.
The manual's inside the safe. so
What
it
is
doesn't really help
self-destruct
me.
on the safe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
it
least
doesn't
someone's
really
gonna
help.
steal it.
No, well, yeah, they can. It's heavy as shit. It's full of guns, but it just doesn't open. So.
On the safe topic, if you want a quick fun story, Dre,
Is it a safe story?
it is a safe story.
Well, not so, safe.
Yeah, not so safe.
It was safe for everyone, but Dre.
Yeah. So we had went out. We were.
He's so happy right
I
now.
know. I was probably like 10. I was probably 12. Dre was probably around 10. And we went out with our stepmom for the first time ever, with our dad. And we go to Orchlands. And I'm like checking all the safes, and one of them's unlocked. I was like, hey, you should get in here, and we'll mess with Erica. And we'll just say that you're stuck in here. So we shut it.
You serious?
We shut it. We
Oh,
spin
yeah.
we spin the deal. It spins. It just opens right back up. No problem. So I'm like, yeah.
Test it. It's going to be fine.
We
It's going to be
tested it.
totally fine.
So once he gets in there, I spin it, and then it locks.
Dude.
And I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm like looking for the papers and everything. I was like, are the papers inside? And he's like, yeah. And he could like feel them. And I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, that's where the keys are. And so I go tell our stepmom, and then I have to go up and tell the front. I go up and tell the front desk lady. They come over to the intercom, say there's a kid stuck in the safe. I go over the whole intercom, call the fire department. Dre comes out like he's going to fight me. There's like 40, 50 people.
How
standing.
did you get out?
They
Blow the safe?
No, they came with a like code cracking deal.
Oh, well, that's hip. So, hey, maybe that's the angle for you.
I know, but all the
Dre's in the safe, man.
the wheel's broken. The internals, I think I broke them. So
Everything in there's Dunzo.
nah.
Gone forever.
You just shared a pin. Somebody's got to replace a pin.
Yeah, we could have just left Dre in that safe forever. He could still be living at Orchlands right now.
Yeah. He might
Happy
be
ending.
really sweaty and
Happy
hot.
ending.
Yeah.
Still
But-
I got
So-
trapped in a exhibit case at the Nelson Atkins in the Egyptian section one time for about 45 minutes.
You're almost a mummy.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
That was
How did
kinda-
that happen?
You feel like King Tut?
It was tight. I'll be honest. I was in, we were putting interior casework in and the big swing glass doors. And of course, the smallest fellow on the job gets to go in the case and do the interior measurements when the door is shut. They got gaskets and seals. So you got to, you're getting interior measurements. And so the door was shut and I was measuring and good to go. And then they couldn't get it. So they had to, anyway, just run around the building for an hour looking for a key. But finally somebody got me. It was just a funny anecdote. I got paid, on the clock.
Yeah. Hour.
Relaxing way to spend an hour.
It was a funny deal, and it wasn't airtight or anything, so it was fine. But it was just sitting in the case like a.
Dre did not get paid.
Nah.
I
Dre
think that one
not
was
on the
pretty
clock.
close to airtight too.
Yeah.
A little warm in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in there for like 45 minutes.
Did you guys watch that show on Amazon, Patriot? It's about brothers. It's about the dynamic bond between brothers.
Oh, we watched it
I
yet.
don't think I
It's
have.
pretty freaking funny, and it kind of reminded me of that. That little tale just put me in the mind of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, not that you're bored. I don't think you
No.
watch much.
We could probably use the whole podcast for stories from their childhood, but
Yeah, that's a separate podcast.
yeah.
I'm waiting for his wedding speech to really unleash. I want to tell everyone, make sure you'll get 2 intermissions. Make sure everyone's ready.
Hold your applause. We're
Yeah.
gonna keep this to 3 hours.
But so you went to high school out in St. Louis,
I did. Yeah.
and then Went to college out there.
Springfield. Yep. SMSU. Now it's, I guess, Missouri State.
Yeah.
And then that was 95. Moved up, graduated from college in 95. Moved to Kansas City to work at Ibex Rock Climbing Gym in Blue Springs, right out of, just.
So do you still rock climb?
No, I'd love to, but I just don't have time.
He literally was just talking about the last 3 weeks. I hasn't had a whole lot to do.
Well, no, hang on,
Kayaking,
man.
had a kayak,
Listen,
go to the Lake of
Kayaking,
Ozarks.
I'm doing all these fun activities every day.
Now I feel indulgent. I changed 2 trailer flats today. Come on now.
Okay.
I mean, come on. I'm doing stuff every
Yeah.
day. 2 flats, 2. Yeah, I don't know. We literally took the whole lumber company. You saw all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We just shook it out, baby. I mean, like it's all over the floor. So I'm doing a pretty good job of sorting every evening. I hit the French press hard around 5 or 6 o'clock, get me through about 10 or 11, just sorting hardware, putting tools away. No kidding. It's really something.
Yeah.
What do you do with the rest of the day?
Ray's still making stuff. Tony's still doing stuff. We're all, we're conducting the try to keep the trains on the rails while we're putting stuff away. Dance. Also, there's funny things because I have a German Shepherd and a little German Shepherd follower that's just a dude. And so they're not used to what goes on. And Ray's great big. And so, and the sweetest guy in the world, in the universe. But Dagny, a little combative about that fellow. And so now there's this like dog dynamic that everybody's loaded down with greenies. You know what I mean? Just throwing them out
Yeah.
with Mardi Gras. You know what I
You
mean?
gotta have them ready.
You do.
You gotta be
I
ready.
said, just grease them, man. It doesn't matter. They're skinny dogs. Just grease them. And that's going pretty good. But there's just a bunch of new things. Forklift stuff's different. Everything's different. But it's okay. It's slower pace too, which is really nice. And again, the less overhead. That's the thing. That's the whole take a breath moment. There's just way less overhead. So I haven't moved slow or not worried about making rent in 10 years. And I'm not really worried about it, but I knew what the hustle was and I was ready for it, and I was always ready and on and on. And right now, man, it's a little chill and I'm digging it. And I don't want to be broken, but I'll take a break, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really have. I mean, it's really been on. I got a week off from my honeymoon 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and I was just gone for a solid week with nothing, and that was not bad. But short of that, it's just been a few 4 days, 6 days, once in a while, but still doing stuff. And so we're still doing stuff. It's still functional, but it's just a really different pace. And I think that's okay for just a brief period, although I recognize it's very weird from a business sense. Yeah.
So it's funny when we worked out of the house, there was 7 of us in the basement, and our smallest dog, Oakley, he got pretty fat when we were working at the house. I mean, he turned into a chunker, and he was eating everything all day,
He
every
could only
day.
jump this high.
Yeah. No, I'll show you pictures of it when we're done. He was fat.
Really? Okay.
He was pretty big.
He looked like a little roly-poly, but he just ate all the time. But when we were at the house, it was funny where we would go places and I'd tell people, I'm like, yeah, we office out Shoal Creek. Like, nobody knew that we officed out of a basement. I would tell clients, I'm like, hey, yeah, the office is booked up right now. We have a lot of meetings going on. I'll meet you over at Saltgrass.
Yeah.
Or I'll meet you at some restaurant. We'll just grab lunch. So that's how I did 100% of my sales.
It's the way to go. Low
And-
overhead, man.
But it was I also know when we went into the River Market, that's what solidified us. That was the first time I felt like we were a real company.
Yeah, I totally get that. You need to have the presence to do that. That's what I feel like right now. I'm under the radar. We're just kind of drifting, and it's perhaps okay, but I surely, so it's simple things do I put my address on Google Business where it currently says, temporarily closed? I mean, I need to address that, but I really don't want people showing up,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a hard deal where
P.O. Box, the old lumber company P.O.
Yeah,
Box.
P.O. Box.
There you go.
Because
That's
The Urban Lumber
ticket.
Company, P.O. Box 155, Elk Mound, Wisconsin.
So I had it where we had my address on Google, but you can turn it off to where people can't see it. So people can't see the address, and they're like, "Are you guys located in Kansas City?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "We've been dealing with all kinds of problems with Google."
So I can do that?
Uh huh.
Okay, that's operator. See,
Yeah.
This is the right crew. This is good.
Yeah, so you can put an address on there, then you can hide it from public, and it's that's what we did for a long time. And I just told people we had a problem with Google. that it just wasn't. It didn't load right. Couldn't get our office address and Shoal Creek correct.
I'm okay with getting close. Like generally, it's this zone, and it's going to be by appointment only. I just really, and it's not like anybody would have ill intent but it's just we just don't have the same setup, and so people would be. It would just I think be a misuse of everyone's time.
Yeah,
and I could see it perhaps being burdensome.
So I feel like your industry line, I feel like great product and great service sells itself. Like even when we were in the basement, we still had a good product and good service. So it's like we were still scaling really fast. It was more, I look at this point, it was more just a personal thing for me. Like what we were asking from companies that they're like, are we really paying? At that point, a lot of people looked at us as kids. Like, are we paying some kids that are working in a basement? Like
Hanging out all day, messing with computers.
Like, and it was funny that I even think my dad, like, kind of watched in the beginning, was like,
"You sure you know what you're doing?
Like, are you sure this is a good idea?" And now he like comes into our new offices and stuff down the Crossroads. He's like, "I mean, it just don't make sense how you boys make so much money taking pictures."
That's awesome.
I'm like, that we do a lot more than that.
Well, it's cool. That's nice. That's nice props, right? That's cool.
It's cool just seeing the transformation with scale and things like that. But it's also like, I think your industry line, you have great product, great service. People don't care where it's being made. I think there's a lot of people that
that's
very
totally
succinct.
the case. Right now, it's just logistics. Like I'm trying to get people are asking for wood, and I've got to go fish around for it. We were setting up racks today, so it's a short-term problem. I'm just being fussy, but I am excited about the future because I feel like Missouri Organics got something. I believe it'll be pretty solid coming up, and I think will be a big part of that. And it's like a total tree disassembly compound, and it'll produce energy and biochar and a bunch of other outcomes. And so I think that'll be and we'll be at the front of that, feedstock, separating trees and saying these would be good for this, these would be good for that. So potentially a terrific amount of diversion if they develop this compound.
Yeah.
But it's not, that's not 100%. That's kind of a goal.
Yeah. And I look at business too as like, you're going to take different routes all the time. Different things are going to happen, but it's at the end of the day, good things happen to good people, just doing the right thing every single day. And I think that you have held true to that in everything that you've done. And I know that the talks of all of these things that you guys have up in the future, like it'll come to fruition. It'll work. And it's like, it's also, you can see when people have passion on something or when people are just trying to do it for a money grab.
Yeah. Good luck on that one, brother. Let me tell you. Let's cut to the chase.
But it's like, I see it sometimes, like, I'm not going to diss on Ricky's cutting board that he made, but there's like a wood shop that's set up, like, I swear to God, at every single different deal that they have cutting board, and trust me, I've bought them, where it's like, I have a cutting board, it's like $300.
Yeah. Cut up in pieces. And
yeah, cool. Some big, huge monsters cutting board that it's like you go down there, it's like they can't even really tell me a lot about it. It's just
I bet it's cool looking though.
Oh, it's cool looking.
Yeah,
that's why I bought it. Like,
yeah,
I was like, that's legit. It's ginormous. Like, so when I do these like big, huge like meat boards and everything, I just slap everything on there. And it looks cool. But I look at that as like when I see those people, a lot of times I feel like it's kind of a money grab type deal. Just from my interactions with them, where they still have a cool product, so I buy it, but the passion level's not there.
I guess so. I don't know. Cutting boards. I think it would be difficult to make a living at. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with making cutting boards. It's just one of the bajillion things you can make out of wood. I would be not content doing the same thing every day or traveling around setting up. So for me, it was always doing customs one at a time, which is foolish. And it's the result, I think, of too much A-Team or shows like that as a child, because you end up wanting to build things and do things custom all the time. And I don't know if that's healthy necessarily. But I like that.
I think sometimes when you get the right clientele too, there's a client out there that only wants things custom to them.
Well, and it makes sense because a lot of times the room just requires this size of a table, and I don't know, it's just kind of a weird squatty shape or whatever. Yeah. And there's always a need. Plus, the custom of a tabletop is really specific, and that's a neat thing to be able to offer people is like something that they really want, that they feel good, gathering their family around. That's kind of like the anchor, or at least the floor of the gathering, and I love that. Yeah. If you can make them a nice thing, that's really sweet.
We need to get a podcast table made. I want to do like a U-shaped one.
It would be nice or not.
Faceted?
Yeah, so they
So
have
looking
they've
at
I've seen them online where they're like 4 different pieces,
Yeah.
but it's like a big U shape. So
Yeah.
it's everyone facing that way, and it looks more like a
Sports center.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're all kind of lined up around like
I think that's the way to do it.
yeah. So it's
Or the news.
It's easier to look at people too, because like on this side, your neck
Yeah.
gets cramped.
Yeah, totally.
After
dude. I think
trying
if
to
you,
look down
really
this way.
made one of those and put it on Marketplace, it would. I was looking at them the other
I
day,
could
and
jigsaw a curve on this one.
yeah, I mean we have this made by end of the night.
That's what I'm saying. Give me my favorite chainsaw.
I don't think this is wood all the way through. I think
No.
it's just going to obliterate it.
I think it would fall apart. But man, it would be the shape though. It'd be fine.
Hey, this bad boy was like $500 on Marketplace.
Shoot.
I've now thought after we've done the podcast as long as we have, it's probably time for an upgrade.
We could probably get a different table. Actually.
That we get one that's like curved and has like our logo like epoxied in the middle and everything. That'd be real cool.
That would, you guys could do anything you want. I like the idea of making it ergonomic for everybody's view and
Yeah.
comfort.
This table is actually, if we really pick it apart, wildly inefficient for this.
Oh yeah,
sure.
yeah. Wild for several
Almost couldn't be worse.
reasons. It reminded me though. I think of all these things like I should have done. You know how you go back. I should have done this the whole time. Like make money. You know, I should. If I'd have done
Dang,
that. But like awards for people who have made the most out of a free table bottom, because that's kind of a thing, because a lot of people come in just for the tops. Actually, it took us like 2 years to realize you could sell more tables if you sell bottoms with the tops. With a natural business instinct, he began. Anyway, we used to just sell a lot of tops, and so people, but also we got into bottoms quick, but people were coming in with all these crazy like things they found at the curb. And some people did really great with stuff, like you said, on Marketplace for $50. I think there should have been competition the whole time for like the cheapest base.
So this garage has been pretty much all pieced together off Marketplace.
I think that's the way to do things.
So
I mean,
this-
in certain situations,
Yeah.
This year,
but like for this is perfect, right? It's
perfect.
great. It's
Yeah.
creative. It's collage.
my wife will not do Marketplace finds inside. So everything inside's brand new from the store. But like that fridge was $100 on Marketplace, and they're like, yeah, the lights don't work in it. I put new lights in; they do work now. They burnt out
Burnt
again. But it's neons I got from my dad's bar.
What do we get from the? What'd you give for the Bush door? If I might be so bold.
So I will say the Bush door and those two signs and that metal sign all came out of my dad's bar.
Professional stuff. Whatever. That's fine, because that would have been a funny one. Or for me, that's
Yeah.
a funny one.
The man cave deal, I bought that for $20 at an antique place down the caves.
Hmm.
I tried to do a bunch of pallet wood. I brought home a whole truckload of pallets and did that part of the wall behind the safe pallets for a little bit, and then I figured out it was a pain in the ass to break down pallets. So ditched that idea.
Did you check out our sick epoxy job on the?
I
that
did
bar
not.
top, though?
It's kind of fucked up now. It's had its day.
No, it looks great. I like the mix, the collage of the boilerplate material.
It kind of
Yeah.
bubbled a little bit. I think it was a little too cold when we did it.
Oh, it's
'Cause
definitely too cold.
It was like 10 degrees when we
It's
poured it.
definitely
So.
been cracked.
Yeah.
Seems like it might have been.
So I built the whole bar 2 nights before we moved in the house.
Got to get the bar going.
So at my dad's house, we always just had lumber up there. So if it was we need to build fences, we need to do whatever it was, like we just had piles of 2x4s, 4x4s.
Ready to rock
like,
and roll.
there was literally just anything that you could think of. And he would have Lowe's come out and just drop like all this wood out there so we could fix whatever it was. So I just went up to the barn, started grabbing stuff and put that together. And we had all the chains and all that stuff. I had to go buy the
Looks like you
metal
disassembled
piping.
a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely had enough motorcycle parts.
Yeah.
So it was I wanted a bar for it here, but it's like I couldn't find like a cool wood bar. And that's where I think like I thought about like the wood shop deal. Like I feel like I could make it profitable actually, where it's just building bars.
We do a lot of bars. I think that's a great. I think that's a like as a lot of people move into a house with an unfinished basement.
Yeah.
I mean, we kill it on bars.
Yeah. And if you can build like full one-off bars, it's I had more people ask me about that. And I mean, that thing was half-assed thrown together. Like,
Well, it's the bottom part that's easy to make, but they're often better made, built in. So it is, it's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to do remotely. But just from my perspective, bar top, you could. But it always tethered into plumbing. And now, if you're into plumbing, well, I can't really get into that, and I got to get into this. Now I got to do that whole ceiling. You know, man, it unravels like a sweater. I mean,
And all of a sudden
anybody you
you're
talk
doing
to, any
basements.
home improvement guy, it unravels fast.
Yeah.
Which, the Urban Lumber Company has a strict delivery only policy.
But I think about just a lot of bars where without the plumbing side, I know a lot of people that just have like man caves.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still look at bars all the time. Like if I find something that's cooler than that one, I'll replace
Switch it
it.
in a second.
Like, but I'll see stuff. Like I found one that was like badass. It was like $4,500, but it was out south of St. Louis. And I'm like, I'm not traveling that far. Like Marketplace, it has to be normally within like 30 miles of me to
Unless it's
pull the
really
trigger.
sweet,
It's got to be really cool for me to
sweet,
drive somewhere
right.
for it. But no, I look at just that kind of like specialty stuff. I'll go in places where today we went to do a taco review and they had like this whole lounge area up top that was all built out of like whiskey barrels. It was all of those cut in half. And like I look at that whiskey barrel furniture stuff, like
See a lot of those that I like.
yeah, I'll see those on Marketplace, and shit's expensive. Like, and you can get those whiskey barrels pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it's just somebody that has to know what they're doing, and then have a creative eye that says, "Hey, I made something cool out of this." Like, I've seen guys take a bunch of like different on a lot of these like closed whiskey pages. They'll offer bottles and stuff like that you can get for free, and then they'll crush them all. They put them across the top, and they'll epoxy over them. They'll put a piece of glass on the top, and then they'll build like 4 chairs for it. And I'll see these things listed for like $5-6 grand. And I'm like, every time I go back to look at them, they're sold. And it's just like, it's cool and it's one off and it's unique that somebody's going to show up that's going to be a masterpiece in their man cave.
I've never done that where I've made something and then tried to sell it. That's just nothing I've ever.
You should do that.
I always waited for people to ask for something, or like get a custom deal. It's like
I feel like
that's
you
not
have
true.
the creative
That's not
side.
true. I've made a few things and had them around, but like it's always like, well, that one's the wrong shape, or it's just whatever. It's always like, I don't know. I guess what I meant was it seems always like it's easier to get a deposit. Can I say it that way? So like,
But it's like,
if somebody's ready to make something, I'm ready to build it. So,
but it's like, I'm also very much an instant gratification. You can ask all of them around that if I see something cool enough, I'll pull the trigger on it like immediately.
Yeah.
That it's like, if you had like one-off projects that you did like once a month, and it's like,
It's a constant battle. Everybody wants a showroom with their one-off things, but then I don't want to be a shopkeeper where you're like, here, check out my chair. What do you think of my chair? I mean, that wouldn't be bad, I suppose. It'd be fun to make them, but like managing the sale of the showroom floor, I don't know. It's a different deal.
I don't think you do a ton of it. I think you just have like your really high-end one-offs, and then once it sells, and you do another one.
Maybe,
But it's
maybe,
just like-
maybe in my what are we calling? What do you call it when you get a break off work? It's not a hiatus. It's like a
It's a sabbatical.
sabbatical. This is my sabbatical period.
There you go.
And so perhaps during my sabbatical period, which I'm still working every day, by the way, I got like 24 hours last week, light week, but maybe I'll do a one-off or two because I have been itching to make something. Everything's trash right now. When I put the shop back together, we'll see how things are going. I do need to probably do something fun for myself as far as building. And there's no like short list. I've got like a list 10 million things long of things I want to make. Stuff that's already designed too, which is funny. Stuff sitting around in pieces too, which is even funnier.
So I look at it as like, if you're just putting those things together, look, if you sent me photos of like, hey, I just finished this,
I will send you.
there's a good chance you could probably catch me on something cool. Like,
Keep it in mind.
I love something cool that's like,
Yeah.
that no one else has. Like, that's what I'm thinking, like a podcast table when people came in here. It's like crazy high end, and it's like we build like the mounts for each podcast, like each mic.
See, but
And then
here's
it's
how
like-
I would do it. I would design it and show you a picture of it and say it'll cost like this. What do you think of that? And that would be how I typically do it. So
Yeah.
it's not really like building it first. It's more like, I guess it's like designing it first, but like it doesn't start off like I would have never thought when I was coming over here, like I'm gonna try and shove him into my U-shaped podcast table. You know what I mean?
You didn't know I was going to come up with such a great idea.
No, it's a good idea, but I just would. It's just I don't know. I always just wait. I guess I've been lucky that where people have always just approached me about stuff to make, and I've always had a queue where people are waiting, and it's always been fine for just like, what do you think you want? And I'll doodle something up, and hopefully it goes. But I like that. I mean, I think that's fun to way to. It's just like you get to listen to what people. It's kind of like being a detective almost. You kind of get to listen to what they want and then suggest a creative solution that hopefully they respond to, or maybe we need to fine tune. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but often it goes well.
And I think sometimes when you're super niche down on something where it's so specific, I feel like it's a good thing. Where a lot of people are like fearful of being super niche down to something where it's like, okay, I built a podcast table. Who would be interested in a podcast table?
Well, you can't do that all day long.
Yeah. So it's
same,
like
same with cutting boards. I do like the diversity of it, but really I like selling lumber too. So that's, we could just be a wood shop. You know what I mean? Anybody could just be a wood shop, but I liked having, although it's double-edged sword. It was hard to be attentive to a showroom floor. When people came in, I immediately loved it because I got to talk about wood.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of energy, and it's hard just to put up with general public all the time and answer the phone all the time. So like that's kind of a drag. But I do love talking to people about wood, and you guys saw how it is when people come in. It's just fun, and people seem to dig that. So I kind of miss that part. But sabbatical, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to pay my house bill making my pins in another garage, but
No, but it's fun.
All the guys playing their cards right, they could have them in their stockings.
That's right. The trick on the pens, if you want to know the truth, is
don't do them.
No. Well, I mean, it is. Those are literally for people with small spaces because it's just a little tiny thing you can do. But you still get the
I
satisfaction.
know, you can put a whole thing up and have you buy the little blocks online.
Yeah, that's it. That's just small. I do a little woodworking, but you can get cool wood and all that. You get a good pen mechanism because usually.
They're cheap.
It's shit. Yeah, it's because it's a kit thing, but you really want that nice, like retrofitted one. And so at that point, it's not really the jam it together system, but you want a good pen. It's like nobody. Worst thing. Spend a little time on it, make a nice wood turn thing. Done.
Pen sucks.
Yeah. Pen sucks.
Those were the ones I made.
Pen sucks.
Pen sucks. Cheap mechanism.
I know you can make as many of them as you want, but they weren't good pens.
That's the thing, and that's the whole bones of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of a.
And
I think
I don't want a shitty pen in my stocking. I want like a nice pen.
Mont Blanc, what I mean? Get the Mont Blanc kit.
Or just a good mechanism. Make sure that thing clicks out nice and hard.
Everyone's going to be giving me their feedback on what kind of pens they want.
That's it. I totally like a 0.7 with a good flow. You know what I mean?
So
Something really hangs.
That's important for me. That's important for me.
Yeah.
Pen's got to write good,
I don't even use
like
ballpoints.
0.7.
I don't use ballpoints at all. I can't stand the feel of them. I really don't.
So my dad, all growing up, like he was a Mont Blanc guy. Like my dad had a whole lineup of Mont Blancs. Like he goes, you sign contracts. He goes, when you're working,
it's a nice experience, man.
It is.
It's hard to go back once you start like, oh, that's elegant.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Then I tried to do that in the car business. Like when I first got in, I was like, I'm gonna have my own Mont Blanc, and then a customer stole it from me.
Straight away.
I was like,
That's a bad deal.
Having an $800 pen stolen from you kind of sucks.
And the really sucky part is they probably didn't even know.
No, it's probably sitting in a drawer right there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to call them back. Hey, did you take
nice
my
pen.
pen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may think that's an ordinary pen, but that's an expensive pen.
Yeah. Like that diamond in the top. Like my dad had one that had the real diamond in the top in the shape of like the Mont Blanc.
Wow.
Everything but I mean, he was doing contracts all day, every day. Like people sitting in front of him signing on houses. Like,
well, you could probably swing for a mid-tier pen that was your daily. You know what I mean? Like you only get the rolls out once in a while, but like you could get a ding at the grocery store with this one.
I really feel like we're getting this put together. I'm going to be full production of pens here.
I think he is.
He is.
You just got to interview a few pen manufacturers and see what kind of line.
I'm gonna tell them I'm really trying to build the gold standard of pens. And
I mean, if you
Wooden
start,
pens.
If you start now, you can have those pens in our client stockings too.
yeah, I can make a lot of them.
You make a lot of them.
I was cutting up a bunch of, we're moving stuff around. Today I cut up a bunch of babinga. Have you ever heard of babinga?
No.
Well, it's a funny wood for an urban lumber dude to be talking about on your podcast, but they're interesting because they're long. They were like 14-foot beams of irregular shapes, but they were tapered. So picture a 14-foot beam like this of an African hardwood that was clearly a barrel. And why would that even be made? But you'd think like, well, a steamship, I guess. But how would it have gotten here? I guess it had to come up the river. But it's a barrel. It's a huge barrel. And I got all the beams of it. It had the notches for the water tank is what I think for a steamship.
That's cool.
I got a bunch of those beams and I was cutting them up today because I had to drop some rotten ends. And I have all these chunks of these hardwoods. And this could be the genesis
Of Dane's pens.
That's it.
Yeah.
You guys, did you feel it?
Babinga.
Yeah.
like
It's
it.
Babinga pens.
if you Googled it, you'll be impressed. It's an exotic hardwood. People,
I've never
think
heard of
might-
it, yeah.
I know because
Yeah,
you're an
if-
urban
My-
lumberman,
yeah, my
right?
question-
I bet you know
my
about
question
6
was gonna
local
be-
species, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
if you
my
don't
boy.
appreciate-
That's my boy.
My
Yeah.
question was going to be how the hell did you acquire that wood, but you followed it up. So
Well,
Yeah.
it was all, it's all auction stuff. I got it. So a dude got it at auction off the river, and I think Corps of Engineer guy, a crazy fellow that I've met, he picked it up and he was just like, man, I've just been storing it, moving it, storing it, moving it. It's, when was it used? It's connected with dowels, like big 1-inch dowels, and it goes a big, crazy. I mean, it was.
There's wood auctions.
It was like it was so old. It was probably pre-Craigslist even, or it was Craigslist, I'm sure. But
I mean, people think Craigslist is out, but that's where we found our bus.
Craigslist is still a viable option for things.
Yeah,
Believe it or
I
not.
messaged probably 15 people to try to buy a short bus on a Friday.
yeah,
None of which, all of them haven't responded to me. Message one guy, or I call one guy on Craigslist. Met him on Sunday, picked the bad boy up.
it's just random. Who knows how the random meter goes on either platform?
Oh, it was I was like, you know what? This is a Hail Mary. Let's see if there's something on Craigslist. And long and behold, the beauty
There
itself.
was.
There was.
There was.
And you got it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's in the office. We've had it all painted and everything.
Yeah.
And we've gutted the whole inside. Now it's got turf inside.
Nice.
And
What'd you get for a short bus?
What?
It's close.
Yeah. It's $4,500.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Pretty
Runs
good,
and
right?
drives.
Really?
Got D-Max in it.
That'd be a sweet getter, right?
Yeah.
Just as far as things go, I could maybe
She's-
convert that to the.
She's a
lumber
little rusty.
company. That's
A
fine.
little rusty, but trusty.
it's all covered up.
Yeah.
Can't even tell.
pretty light on the trusty. We haven't proven it quite yet.
Yeah.
but
It did drive from Worlds of Fun to our office, and then we've backed it in.
in a cloud of smoke.
Will
Yeah.
you be moving it, or will it just be a?
So in the beginning, we weren't planning on moving it. So it's like a ornament in the back of the office, but we're having new wheels and tires put on it, leveling kit put on it, and then we're going to take it down.
Your friends at NSK, perhaps.
Yep.
Yep.
NSK is going to be tricking
Nice.
it out, and then
You need a wood steering wheel or anything? You're talking-
Hey, we might.
we could do a cool wood table down the middle.
We
That would
do.
be cool.
We need to figure something out in there.
The inside.
I feel a little uninvolved.
I mean, we were trucking along pretty good, and then it kind of hit a halt. We did just buy all of the mics and all that stuff for inside, so we do have all that now. But I'm trying to figure out what the aesthetic inside looks like. So I have tubs downstairs with more neons in it, things like that. So we're gonna like hang neons all around it inside. But then I'm gonna take it down to the boys at SK, have it tuned up. It does have a little bit of exhaust leak. So we're gonna get that fixed. She I think she could possibly be straight piped. She rolls some coal, but get an MVI on her so we can go get it tagged. And I was thinking about taking it to a Chiefs game or two. So
Okay, so roadworthy for sure then.
yeah,
All right.
I think with some new wheels and tires and a little tune up, she'll be
You're
just
gonna-
fine.
Oh, it'll be riding nice with that.
You're gonna have it fun. You're gonna have some fun with it then. It sounds like.
Yeah,
All right. I got you.
but
I didn't hear it the first time. I heard it the second time.
yeah.
Nice.
So no, it's coming together.
That's cool.
But got to trust the old Craigslist still sometimes.
I guess so. Yeah. I sold a 4-handed auger 2 weeks ago. That wasn't bad.
Where do you see? I know you have some things on the near horizon, but like long term, what do you see with Urban?
Well, I believe we'll get set up again eventually, one place or another, and so hopefully try to recreate a similar experience as we had. I mean, obviously, just fine tune things. I would like to. We should have just owned the property outright. Man, that crystal ball. If only we had that
Yeah,
hindsight. But looking back, that would have been an easy one to put on the list, and so that's got to be on the top of the docket going forward. And once you get your own compound, you can kind of grow slow. You know what I mean? So where, under what circumstances, how it begins, but once that's established, then it'll be a natural evolution. I think people responded to the physical place that we created just as much as the ideas or the wood, and it's like they dug the building and like kind of the vibe that was in there. And I think that's just something that happens when when me and my buddies get together and put up a shop. I don't know.
make it happen.
Yeah. They seem to be as enthused as I am. So still,
Yeah,
but we are all just taking a moment, taking a breather. We're still putting stuff together and unpacking. Like I said, it's just a different pace.
Yeah.
It feels good for a while. We'll get going again soon. It's just
the sabbatical.
I love it. I don't
one,
know.
That's one thing.
I promise. I'll start answering the phone. I'll be back. Nobody worry. It's gonna be fine.
That's one thing we didn't touch on though.
What's that?
Your crew, how they came to be at Urban Lumber.
Well, me and Tony. Okay, so Tony Melby, the Sawyer, who has never been on camera because he doesn't like to be.
He's
on
not
camera.
a big fan of that. Yeah,
It's not that he's not a fan. He's just very private. He's just also an old man, like a classic old man too. Like raised by a classic old man. So he's an old man for sure at a young age too. But anyway, him and I we walked into Math 135 when we were freshmen, first day of math, first day of school, college, and sat next to each other. And he said, "I'm Tony," and I said, "I'm Tim." So we've been buddies ever since. We did a lot of projects together and, just worked together whenever we could. And so it was a no-brainer to have him help start it out. So he's been with me since day one as a lumber company at this location, 7200. So, literally did half of everything. And then Ray is, I'd worked with him since, I guess, 2005, shared shops and also all over the Nelson stuff. Ray's built half the casework in the Nelson and a bunch of other fancy stuff. So he's just an old school, cabinet guy, great skills, but he loves the raw wood. He loves all of it, and Tony does too. So after you immerse yourselves in it, it's just kind of easy to enjoy the work. But Tony focuses mostly on sawing and drying, and Ray's kind of makes everything. Typically, I do a lot of helping along the way in both directions. But I don't know. It's a good team. Kind of all dig each other. We kind of know how we all work together, and it's all I will say this, there's likely to be no surprises from the three of us. It seems like three serious house cats doing three serious house cat things. So I always keep thinking that we're going to get something different from the recipe, but the recipe keeps coming out the same. So short of it, and I wouldn't rule out like if we slowly build up our stock, not stock, but you know what I mean? We could, I believe there's a lot of, if we enlarged our club, I think we could infuse energy into the team. And I look forward to doing that too. We need to get younger guys in. So ultimately, I'd like to grow enough to have younger proteges.
Don't try to take Dalton.
Well, anybody? I was actually listen, big man. I was going for the top dog.
Oh, he said we've been looking for a good pin maker around here.
Actually, I was going for Ricky. That's what I was going for.
He said cutting boards are on the near horizon.
No, just move this whole pile.
Bread boxes are up.
It would be good to have if anybody wanted to, because I ain't gonna do it forever, man. I don't know. I like doing it for sure.
Yeah.
I'll always use urban wood when I can. But it's funny because I just pitched that Babingo, which is so not urban wood.
I know.
Hypocrisy runs deep throughout my life.
I know. You're trying to sell me on African hardwood.
I know.
Yeah, to try to launch my pin empire.
The only reason because I was laughing about it earlier today because Tony and I were moving it for like the 600th time, and it's super duper heavy. 14-foot beams like this. It's just stupid.
So my pins are going to be heavy.
Well, I cut a bunch of things off, so I've already got to buy some because that's the deal. I was laughing because it's like, Tony, I'm never going to make anything for anybody out of this because I sell local stuff. And he just started laughing because he knows that's why I've never used it. No, I'd rather sell you some walnut or I'd talk about this or the other, It'd be really weird. I mean, I made an outside table for someone once out of it, and that was why I have extra. And they love that table. But I don't know if I'll ever make anything else out of it because I always talk people into something else.
I'm going to go in to pick it up first day. I'm going to end up with some local walnut.
I'm feeling like
tip.
the podcast table is going to have some Babinga flair.
All right.
I'm cool with
I
it.
feel like it kind of needs it now.
Has to.
That'd be cool.
That is definitely something we need here in the near future.
It's pretty flashy too. It's kind of a bright red. It's super duper hard. It's really fun material. It's super dense. It's super waxy and dense. It's crazy heavy, like steel. Funny.
Heavier the better.
Yeah.
That's actually my one key when I buy things at antique places.
I feel like that
buy heavy shit.
It implies a little bit of, but then when you think about it, coming out of wherever it came from, wherever the tree grew, and it was maybe a water tank, man, that's kind of fun too, right? The story.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters. I like that. It's fun to muse.
I think it's cool.
All right, so you'll be watching the podcast here probably pretty soon, seeing us with a new table here, however long that takes to get developed and put together. We'll see what the sabbatical
I'll
looks
call
like.
you in November, I guess.
But no, I very much appreciate you coming on.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me, man. This is fun. Great deal of fun.
Tons of great insights, and I have a lot of respect for what you've done business-wise, just overall of just how you carry yourself. And I'm very particular on who we partner with and who we align ourselves with, and you're very much a staple of who that person should be.
Well, that's terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for being here. Can't thank you enough.
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Dalton, Ricky.
Yeah.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace.
See you.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.